28 years after a deadly virus wiped out civilization, survivors uncover a shocking truth: the outbreak wasn't an accident, it was engineered. As they fight to reclaim their world, they must face the haunting question: can humanity survive its own darkest secrets? The year is 2053, and the world is unrecognizable. Once thriving cities are now decaying ruins, overrun by nature and the remnants of humanity's darkest chapter. It all began in 2025, when a mysterious virus erupted in a small, unassuming rural town. At first, it seemed like a strange flu, but within days, the infection spread with terrifying speed. Victims were transformed into violent, mindless creatures, driven only by an insatiable urge to attack and infect others. Governments scrambled to contain the outbreak, issuing hurried quarantines and deploying military forces. News reports showed horrifying images of chaos, hospitals overflowing, streets filled with panicked citizens, and entire regions falling silent overnight. But the virus was relentless, and it quickly became clear that containment was impossible. Within months, the world was plunged into chaos. Entire cities burned as governments collapsed under the weight of the crisis. Communication networks failed, and humanity was left in the dark, both literally and figuratively. Survivors fled to the wilderness or hid in makeshift shelters, trying to escape the growing hordes of infected. In the midst of the collapse, terrifying rumors began to spread: stories of government officials abandoning their posts, secret facilities disappearing overnight, and whispers of a hidden cure that might save humanity. For most, survival became the only priority, but for a few, the questions about the virus's origins refused to fade. As the years passed, the world settled into a grim new reality. Survivors formed isolated communities, scavenging for food and defending themselves from both the infected and other desperate humans. Among them were those who refused to give up hope. In underground labs and hidden safe houses, a small resistance worked tirelessly to understand the virus and develop a cure. Their research uncovered shocking discoveries. Some individuals were immune, their blood holding clues to reversing the infection. But even as hope grew, so did doubt. A recovered document hinted that the virus was no accident, it was engineered. The Resistance's investigations led them to uncover fragments of a horrifying conspiracy. The virus, it seemed, was created as a bioweapon. Originally designed to target specific populations, it had been tested in secrecy until something went catastrophically wrong. A whistleblower emerged, a former scientist who claimed to have worked on the project. Their testimony revealed that the virus was released not by accident, but deliberately, as part of an experiment that spiraled out of control. The implications were staggering. The very institutions survivors had relied on for safety had betrayed them, sacrificing millions in the name of power and control. The truth sparked a renewed sense of purpose among the resistance. They learned of an antidote, hidden in the ruins of a long-abandoned research facility deep within the quarantine zone. It was a dangerous mission, but a small team of survivors volunteered, knowing that failure could mean humanity's extinction. The journey was perilous, with the group navigating through overgrown cities and avoiding both the infected and hostile human factions. Along the way, they encountered haunting reminders of the world that once was: empty schools, rusting playgrounds, and faded photographs of lives lost to the apocalypse. When they finally reached the facility, they discovered it was far more than just a lab. It was a fortress of secrets, filled with evidence of the experiments that had doomed the world. In the heart of the ruins, they found the antidote, a vial containing the hope of reversing the infection. But as they prepared to leave, they stumbled upon something even more chilling. A secured device held records indicating that those who had created the virus were still alive, operating in secrecy and possibly planning something even more devastating. Returning to their community with the antidote, the survivors were hailed as heroes. The first trials showed promise, and for the first time in decades, there was real hope for a future free from the virus. Yet, the shadow of the conspiracy loomed large. The survivors knew that the fight wasn't over. The people who had unleashed the virus were still out there, and their motives remained unclear. Was the virus truly an experiment gone wrong, or was it part of a larger, more sinister plan? As the documentary ends, the camera lingers on the ruins of a once bustling city, now eerily silent and overgrown with vegetation. A lone figure walks through the wreckage, carrying the antidote to a nearby survivor camp. The narrator's voice cuts through the quiet. 28 years after the world fell apart, humanity stands on the brink of recovery. But as we rebuild, we must confront the truths we've uncovered and the threats that remain. In the end, the greatest danger to humanity may still be ourselves. With this haunting conclusion, the story of 28 years later leaves viewers with a sense of hope tempered by unease, a reminder that even in the darkest times, the fight for survival and truth must continue.